I'm currently working on the Aaron Rodgers, quarterback of the Green Bay Packers. What in particular I'm doing right now is working on the front of his jersey, of which I'm pretty close to finishing. I noticed in pictures of him, there seems to be these little holes in the jersey, so I made this pattern by using an ultrafine green Sharpie marker to make these little diamonds, and then I colored between them using a fine-tipped Sharpie marker. Deciding that however they ended up looking, they would end up being just the right size for an actual jersey. Before I started coloring in the jersey, I did this C-Star logo, and before that I drew in the 12. And then before that, I believe by this point we're talking, I believe I did the 12 in the late afternoon, and this C-Star, the late afternoon, the lines for the sweater and this collar were more around the early afternoon period, maybe around 1 p.m., late afternoon, around 4 p.m. for me. I did the collar maybe around noon, and then before that, I did this 2 over here, and then before that, this 1. I drew this line as starting preparation for the sides. And then I did the line for this other side. That was kind of around noon. Partially due to me working on the Aaron Rodgers styrofoam drawing, I ended up having, even though I initially planned to have it around 1 or 2 p.m., I ended up having the mac and cheese more around 3 p.m. And I recall having a glass of milk with it. Within the first hours of today, right before I fell asleep, woke up around 9:30, fell back asleep, and then woke up again, officially getting up around 10:30 in the morning. I worked on the 99th Dan Hamming episode. In particular, making some quick edits to make sure that the CD prop opened up just right. That's the bulk of what I did in that session. It's currently 9:22 p.m. and I think somewhere between 6 and 7 p.m. there was a second session of me working on the 99th Dan Hamming episode, in which I added some new scenes to the first raw video file. Involving a new line for Kyle, the Uber driver, styrofoam prop character. And then I added a new line for Dan Hamming. I got Dan Hamming's voice, the Eric text-to-speech voice, through Rapper Offline. And the text-to-speech voice I used for Kyle, the Uber driver, is Nazaire. And what's got me stumped currently and not even the left orientation for Caesar's parents, and make me confident that they're looking at him during one of the new scenes. Dan Hamming says his new line. I recall right after I finished that mac and cheese, I had some nacho cheese Doritos. That Dad had a unsecured bag of, meaning the bag didn't have a rubber band to keep it closed. And then immediately after I had those Doritos, I felt a bit tired. So I took the time to do the task Dad said me doing would really help him. And carefully took all the stuff that was on his fridge and put it into a cardboard box that was out in the hallway. And it kind of separates the spare room from the living room. There's sort of a hierarchy of importance when it comes to this stuff on Dad's fridge. I put the magnets and stuff like a Wegmans receipt and scraps of paper with a random email address written on it in first, because they're lower on the hierarchy. And then put in stuff like those 2 masks I made in elementary school, and those Polaroid strip photos that you used to be able to get at shopping malls years ago. I don't know if you can still do that. And then a picture of me with at the cheeseburger place, blurry, with a giant cheeseburger plushie in front of me. I put those things in last to ensure they wouldn't be crushed by any stuff. Anyway, I took the stuff down off of Dad's refrigerator around 4:15 p.m. I remember how some of the magnets on his fridge had been on there for years. You could tell because it was one of those calendars, like one from 2014. And they were a bit hard to get off. I had to kind of do this with my hand in order to get the magnet off, or move it so that it was no longer attaching itself to the fridge. Basically, slide it off of the fridge. And there were a few times I accidentally allowed either a magnet or a photo to fall to the floor, but that didn't do any harm. I just carefully picked the stuff up. Just about everything except the scrambled eggs were made by Grandma on Dad's side of the family. Dad cooked the scrambled eggs. I believe he added in peppers. And I'm not really too sure what else besides that. I don't know if he or his mom did the potatoes or the tomatoes, but either way, they're pretty good. Dad really likes how I'm doing on the Aaron Rodgers styrofoam drawing so far. There was a point in the early afternoon in which I briefly laid down on that big couch that Dad has in the living room. I kind of thought to myself, I can't believe this may be one of the last times I ever lie down on this couch, because Dad plans on throwing it away or putting it out to the curb, basically. And when he moves out by the end of the month, I don't really get why he plans on getting rid of it. It feels comfortable to me. He says he has to sleep on pillows, but of course they're pillows. Those are the cushions of the couch, an integral part of it. Sometimes Dad sleeps on his bed in his bedroom, and sometimes he sleeps on that couch in the living room. It depends on if he falls asleep while watching TV. And we're not really that much different in that regard. I remember times I fell asleep at the college library at Brockport while I was most likely playing computer games on Congregate. I had a few cups of coffee from 10:30 in the morning to maybe around noon, to roughly around noon. Although I recall during that time and leaking into the afternoon period, but mostly during that time I had those few cups of coffee, I did stuff for the game Queen's Blade Limit Break. Although I didn't really get to do too much in terms of making my main team stronger, which consists of 3 break attribute warriors and 2 dual beautiful warriors. And the game calls them beautiful warriors. Although right now, Yeah, I finished everything I needed to do, everything I could do today for Queen's Blade Limit Break by 4 p.m. by doing stuff occasionally, on and off, throughout the afternoon and evening hours. When I was done taking the stuff off of Dad's fridge, I put the cardboard box with all the stuff in it on top of an area on the kitchen table that didn't have clutter on it. I don't know if Dad has since moved this cardboard box or not, but I made sure to treat that stuff with care. At one point I noticed that one of those Polaroid strip photos had gotten a bit bent up due to how the magnets keeping it on the fridge were placed, but it's okay. It'll be okay. I noticed one of the photos on that Polaroid strip was a perfect photo. A photo of Dad sticking out his tongue perfectly, with me and him in the shot. And for that Polaroid strip. And the photos on that Polaroid strip were in black and white, which kind of, in a way, enhanced the effect of Dad sticking out his tongue. It was part of a funny photo.